Hello, my name is RJ Smith, and this is my first milestone presentation on the app that I'm currently developing called MindPal, which is an app to help students increase memory capacity. So why is memory capacity so important for student success? A major challenge that students face in obtaining an education is retaining knowledge that is learned. Barrick states that the value of education depends largely upon the lifespan of what has been learned. In other words, an education is only as good as the amount of knowledge you're able to retain in memory. Many studies have found that most students tend to forget the majority of what they learned immediately after an exam. Miller considered it not uncommon for medical students to retain a mere 10% of the anatomy or biochemistry offered in the traditional first-year course. And many other studies have also found that as we kind of become more reliant on our electronic devices for remembering things, we actually make less effort to try to memorize an event or something that will happen in the future when we know that we can just look it up later. So memory is kind of becoming a dying practice or a dying art. However, there is a solution for it, which is called mnemonics. And mnemonics are the study and development of systems for improving and assisting the memory. Mnemonics include simple techniques such as acronyms or singing a song that has information embedded in the lyrics, as well as more complex methods such as the method of loci, which is the method that is focused on within this app. The method of loci relies on spatial relationships between loci, for example, locations on a familiar route or rooms in a familiar building, to arrange and recollect memorial content. Often this practice is referred to as building a mind palace, and it's actually one of the more popular mnemonics today. And a good way to think about it in terms of kind of computers is it's kind of like creating an array of information within your mind. So the method of loci can significantly improve a student's memory capacity. However, this mnemonic fell into disuse in the West and is not often taught in schools today. Richmond conducted a study on 108 eighth grade students who were randomly assigned to one of the three mnemonics. Those being the method of loci, pegword, keyword method, and another group that was asked to freely study. Over a 2-week period, students learned their assigned mnemonic device and were tested on their ability to transfer their mnemonic under a specific transfer condition, this being the Revolutionary War. So about 3/4 of the students were taught these mnemonics, these techniques, and then they were asked to remember events from the Revolutionary War. And then the last quarter, were just told to study freely. And all children using the mnemonics scored higher than those who were left alone to do free study. So there is evidence that these techniques can actually be very beneficial to students. The problem is many teachers and students are unaware of mnemonic techniques that can be used to enhance an education. Mnemonic techniques aren't difficult to learn, but they require a lot of practice. There currently doesn't exist an app in the Apple App Store that can teach students these mnemonics and help them practice. So the proposal that I had with this project was to create an iPad app that is designed to teach students how to use the method of loci by memorizing an entire deck of cards. And I chose cards because in most cultures they're universally recognized and can easily be used to transfer the technique to other subjects. So as you can see here, we have just a basic flow of the app. Here's the main menu, the first screen that shows up, and the first button you have is training, and training will take you to a series of screens that will break down the method of loci step by step and teach you and help you train to master this technique. So that is kind of the first section of this app. You can think of the app in 3 sections, and that's the first one. The second section is the practice, where you'll be presented with a screen that asks you for the number of cards you'd like to memorize in this session and also how long the session should be. And then it'll take you to another screen that presents you with a deck of cards, which you can go through these by toggling these arrow buttons, and you'll have whatever allotted time you gave yourself to memorize that deck of cards, and then when you're done you can return back to the main menu. And the final section is the test section, which drops you right into the test. It'll give you 10 minutes, a deck of cards, and also the toggle buttons to go through that deck of cards. And you'll have 10 minutes to memorize as many cards as you can using the method of loci. And if you feel like you're ready before that 10 minutes is up, you can click the test button and you'll be presented with the next screen. Now the next screen will just have the deck in its order, not presented yet, and you'll have to vocally say what the next card will be in the deck that hasn't been shown yet. And it has to be vocal because if you do multiple choice, it's almost kind of like cheating, or you just kind of use different techniques with multiple choice. And then once you have vocally said what you think the next card will be, the app will confirm with you that it understood what you said. So in this case, it would say, did you say one of diamonds? And you can say yes or no. One of diamonds doesn't exist, of course, but you can say, yes, that's what I said. If you're correct, you'll go back to the deck and you'll be able to guess the next card in the deck and just continue that until you're done. If you're incorrect, it will take you back to the main screen but record your highest score. So for the task list, for the first week, I said that I would initialize the app and repository. For the development side, I would set up the home screen and the logic for it. And then it says lessons here, but this should actually be training. I had to create the content and the visuals and the flow for the training screens. And then, of course, I had research and the status check. The next week, I had the feature UI for the the training section, and then I also had to do the development for the training section as well. And then the testing, later on I decided I also wanted this to work on the iPhone. So testing mostly consisted of making sure that the content looked good on both the iPad and the iPhone screen, which is a smaller screen. And then, of course, I did more research on best ways to present the material and content, along with another weekly status check and the milestone video, which is being made currently. So right now, let's jump to a demo of what has been built so far. So here's the MindPal app, and we'll first try it out on the current iPad and make sure that it looks good. Okay, so as you can see here, we have our main screen, and here we have our 3 buttons. We'll click on Training, which is the first section and the first deliverable. And as you can see here, we have the content broken down into step-by-step instructions that are easily consumable for the student, and they can learn the method of loci. And here, if they don't have a place in mind that they want to use, the app presents them with one and shows them how they can break up any kind of section or any kind of space into memory points and help them perfect the method of loci. So now we will try it on the iPhone as well, the smaller screen, to make sure all the content looks good and renders just as well on a smaller screen. And as you can see here, it's now rendered on a smaller screen, and the content still fits and looks good. So that was the first milestone for my project. For the next milestone, I'll be finishing the practice section, and then the final deliverable will include the entire app with the test section built out.